Welcome back to the lab, folks. I've got in my boards for my multimeter continuity tester here, and I'm going to build one up and we're going to test it out. So here are the boards. I've already checked them out. They're pretty good. No complaints at all. So that's it here. Let me zoom in on it so you can have a better look. Yeah, some of the layout features, I'm going to put in banana plugs into places like this. Display is going to go here. A couple of bent pins on that. And I've already got some double-sided sticky tape on the back here. And we're going to power it off a battery. I've got this battery pack here, which gives me about 5.25 volts. That's going to be plenty for this. And so I've got all the parts right here, and we're going to start building it now. So let me get that done, and then we'll come back, we'll test it, and I'm going to get out some of the meters that we had in our Precision multimeter shootout, and we're going to test the continuity response on those. So let me get myself all settled here and get started. Okay, we're all done, zoomed in, and ready to have a look at this. I think it looks pretty good. Okay, let's, this chip is already programmed. So let's plug some power into this and see what we get. There we go. Let's get a meter and hook it up. Well, there we go. It's working. Okay, so the auto repeat's working very well as well, so we can go singly, or we can get it to... Now this meter should work right down to the minimum this will go, which is I think 40 microseconds, 30 microseconds, and that this meter's still going. This meter's pretty phenomenal though. Okay, let's have a look at why we put this here. So I put this here to be able to put resistance into it. So a lot of these meters have a specific resistance which they will recognize as being a continuity, and over that they don't recognize as being continuity. So let's get another device here. So what I'm bringing into the picture here is this decade resistance box. And what we can do is take this jumper off here. So that jumper just shorts these two places out here, provides a direct link over to here. But what we can do is we can put in a resistance substitution box like this. Okay, so let's see what resistance this thing skips out at. 20 ohms, 30 ohms, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 200, 300. 200 ohms at 60 milliseconds, and it's consistent. So that's the reason that that's there. So we can test for the resistance value at which it considers it to be continuity. Okay, so this is working great here. Now what I really want to do is I want to check some of those meters that we had in our shootout. So I'm going to go get those, pop some batteries into them, and we can check those ones out. All right, we're going to start out with the Aining AN870, and I'll put up an oscilloscope up here so you can see the pulse width. And you should be able to see that it's saying here 25 milliseconds, and we're at 24.99, so that's pretty accurate. And the way I'm going to test them is I'm just going to start them all at 25 milliseconds. If they handle that, then I'll just quickly reduce the time period down until they begin to misbehave, then bring it back up until they start to behave again. That I think would be the quickest way to do it. Or conversely, if it can't handle 25 milliseconds, I'll start bringing it up until it does work properly, and then bring it down until it starts to fail. So I think that's probably the quickest way to get through it. I don't want to take up too much of your time on this. Now I'll leave a link down below to all the files concerning this. And I'll also leave links to these meters in case you're interested in checking them out, because some of them I think are going to be pretty good here. And let's get started here. So we're at 25 milliseconds. That's pretty good. Let's bring this down. Still good at 11. Still good at 8 milliseconds. This is really good for an inexpensive meter. Okay, we're beginning to miss here at 3 milliseconds. And we're consistent at 4. That's terrific. 4 milliseconds. That's in my book, that's really good. Okay, let's get the next one up. Okay, next now we have the Zoe ZT303. Now I have a sneaking suspicion it uses pretty similar chipset to the Aining that we just saw. So let's check that out. Okay, it's great at 25 milliseconds. Let's bring it down to 10 right away. Yeah, it's handling 10. 4. Yeah, it's exactly the same as the Aining. So it starts to skip a little bit at 3 milliseconds, but it's stable at 4. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, next we have here the Zoe ZT225. This was the winner of our shootout. So let's see how it does. We're at 25 milliseconds. It doesn't have any issue with that. Let's bring it down to 10. Yes, it's missing a little bit at 10. Let's try 12. So try 15 here. Still missing a little bit at 15. Okay, this one seems to be consistent at around about 17 there. Oh no, it's still missing. Bring it up to 20. Missing the odd time. Bring it back up to 25. Yeah, it's pretty consistent at 25. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay, now we've got the Habo test HT118E. We're at 25 milliseconds. Okay, seems to handle that just fine. Let's bring it down to 10. It's missing a little bit at 10. Let's bring it up to try 13. Missing at 13 a little bit. Let's bring it up to 15. Oh, 17. Yeah, seems very consistent at 17. Let's bring it down to 16. Consistent at 16. Bring it down to 15. 14. Yeah, so it's solid at 14 and begins to break up at 13. That's pretty good. Like I said, anything better than 25 milliseconds, at least for my use cases, is perfectly all right. So those first two ones that we did, the little Aining and the little Zoe, they're pretty stellar. Okay, this is our last one here, the Acevus AS98D. So let's reset this to 25 milliseconds. And we'll try it out there. It's doing pretty good there. Let's bring it down to 10. Skipping the odd time at 10. Let's bring it up to 12. It's good at 12. Let's try it at 11. That's good at 11. Excellent. All right, folks, there we have it. A bunch of people did ask me about testing the response time on these meters, and I just didn't have the tool to do it at the time. But I have the tool now, and it's a handy little tool, easy to make, inexpensive, and it's got on it here a programming interface. So if you wanted to change the program at all, you could just hook it up to your laptop, your computer, with the programming cable and program the device right in the board itself. Yeah, I think this came out very well. I'm going to be using this when I test meters going forward. So it's always nice to have your own tools, ones that you created yourself. I like that a lot. All right, folks, thanks for coming out for this series. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out for this video. I appreciate that too. And I'd like to put a little call out to a couple of people I've met online. They're also electronics content providers, and they're small channels like mine. We have to stick together to rail against the YouTube algorithm, as it were. And they're Simple Tech and Links Electronics Labs. I'll leave links to their channels down there. Check them out. If you like my stuff at all, perhaps you'll like their stuff too. And it's always good to get a little bit more information from different people with different perspectives. Again, thanks for coming out for this video. Thanks for joining me for this series. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'll leave files for everything this down in the description below. And we'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.